Right, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We will get started here in just a few seconds to make sure.
Hi, Diana. Good to see you again.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing really well.
Good.
Yeah,
We are recording and getting ready to start.
perfect. Do you have a little a little bit of an agenda to start with, and then we'll right
Yeah,
after?
I'll show that as soon as we get going.
Okay.
All right, everyone. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. We've had a lot of initiatives that have come out this year. It's been a busy year for y'all. I'm sure it's been a busy year for us. And I kind of wanted to just go through some of those member benefits to make sure that you're aware of them and taking advantage of them and to let you know what we are here at TALA are doing for you. So it is the today's webinar is called "What has TALA done for you lately?" For those who remember, a nod to Janet Jackson's song. It's all about what have you done for me lately. And so yeah, let's jump in and talk about some of the things we'll talk about today. And I am hoping to have you out in less than an hour. But we'll talk about some of TALA's main goals. Then we'll go into those particular benefits that we've rolled out this year. And then some of the things that are coming down the road this later on this year. And then we'll end up with some of our upcoming events. So hopefully, like I said, we'll have you in and out in less than an hour today. So TALA really focuses on three things. That's our primary driver here is advocacy, education, workforce development. Many of you have been involved with us on some level with advocacy. And as you know, we partner with Argentum on the federal level. On the state level, we advocate for you not only up at the Texas legislature, but also with the Health and Human Service Commission. And I can tell you, Carmen Tilton, who is our VP of Public Policy here, is usually in a good week talking to HHSC at least 2 or 3 times. We have a regular standing call with them every 2 weeks. But things come up, and so she's always making outreach to them. A lot of times we're trying to get clarification from them on certain regulations, or we're pushing certain issues with them to make sure that the regulations are being applied fairly and in a very uniform manner across the state, because we are so big that you will see different regions sometimes aren't applying regulations uniformly. And so that's one of the big things we always try to make sure that's happening. With education, we have our AL managers course that we've been doing for years. Luckily this year we are able to do 3 in-person classes. We had to take everything virtual with COVID, but now that we are past that, we have branched out the number of in-person educational offerings. We are still doing the virtual component as well. And with regards to workforce development, Rose Signs is our workforce development advisor. We have done more in this space and this year for you than I think we have ever before. We had a video portrait series that we launched that went through and went out to different communities and captured your actual folks in your communities talking about their jobs. And we did the gamut, everything from RNs, caregivers, chefs, different type of support staff, the EDs. And we did these video portraits where we captured them talking about their jobs, the passion, what brought them to assisted living, why they stay. All of those video portraits live on the website, our website, TALA.org. And we've done a campaign where we've pushed out different of those portraits every week so that people looking to get into assisted living can go and look and say, well, what does it really mean if I'm a cook in an assisted living? Or what does it mean if I'm an ED in assisted living? Can I see someone that's actually doing that job? And if you haven't checked those out, please do. They are extremely powerful. And the passion of all you in the industry really comes through in those video portraits. And looking at what, how do we get information to y'all? What are we here for? So that you can utilize us to the best of your advantage. Obviously, we have communications that go on. There's a monthly newsletter that you don't even have to be a member to sign up for that. Anyone can sign up for that. That monthly newsletter usually contains a lot of information on any type of regulatory changes, any type of communications that we've had with the state agency that's important for you to know. Carmen Tilton puts those in her part of the newsletter called Under the Dome. So that goes out every month, and that's called the TALAHour. We also do monthly webinars like the one we're doing now that we call TALAHours, and we try to have some type of educational content that we feel will be a benefit to you and hopefully make your jobs a little bit easier. And then we also have member only alerts. So we have in a system where we reach out directly to the contact person for the companies that are members of ours. That person is then in charge of how they disseminate it to everyone in their organization. But those are usually something that is time sensitive, that it can't wait until next month's newsletter. And we get those out all the time. I can tell you there's been a bunch of member alerts lately around the hurricane. We just had Brazoria County offered to give free water out to all assisted living communities and skilled nursing facilities. That went out in that communication, letting everybody know, hey, you can go get free water. That Brazoria County is offering that benefit right now for its members. The other things with regards to resources that we feel really make a difference is we have a new AI regulatory research tool called Ruth that we'll get into in a little bit with our good friends from WiseOx. I think that we are the only trade association that has something like that, that is providing a really easy way to look up stuff. And like I said, we'll get into it a little bit more. We also have a career search portal that anyone can go and look for a job in assisted living, and those are the only jobs that are posted on that portal. Looking at making connections and networking in the industry. Anyone that's come to our annual conference will know that it is a really unique event in that people really feel like they're making solid connections, that they're building bridges with other communities, with different of our industry partners. It is a really great space to come and meet people, bring ideas, and discuss how to do things better, get tips on different things that you can do in your buildings, and also talk to a whole host of our industry partners to see if there's something there that you could bring back to your building that can make your jobs easier, and keep your residents happy. We also have some member-only networking events that we do. We call those TALA Connect, and we usually do 3 or 4 of those a year. And then when we look back and see how long TALA has been doing this, I haven't been here this long. The TALA has been here for over 25 years advocating for the assisted living community. I've been with TALA since 2015. We have grown every year, and we always try to have that mentality of what else can we do for you to make your lives easier. One of the things that I feel that makes us so special is that our membership is so engaged. Our board of directors is so engaged in our association, and they provide a lot of feedback about things that are working for them, things that they derive benefit from. And so that really helps make a difference, because our board of directors and the committees that drive our different initiatives really put the time in to make this association theirs, because it is. All right, so let's dive into some of those new member benefits. So one of the things that we started this year was a podcast. Those of you who know Anthony Ormsby Hell, and he's with Civitas Senior Living, know that he does our in-person classes for us, AL manager classes. And he came to me and he said, I think that a podcast where we are giving bite-size communications to folks to really try to help them in their day-to-day, providing ideas, like we call them the life hacks, information, things that you can grab, put in on podcasts, listen on the way to work, and hopefully be able to help you in your buildings. And so I love this idea. We started it this year. I was super excited when I heard our first podcast. Was in the car with my mother, and she got so excited. She's like, "That's Amazon." I'm like, "Yeah, we have a podcast on Amazon." But some of the topics and we do it, he does it once a month. So one of the topics, the current episode, is maximizing your financial value in senior living. And he had a guest host, a guest that came in with him to co-host. Her name was Lexi Zanger. She is the VP of Financial Planning and Analysis at Belmont Village. And so that's the latest episode that's out. It had the prior episode was addressing workplace bullying, which was an incredible episode. Before that, the episode was strategies for assisted living inspections with Rose Symes, with Reveal Soul, and she also does our workforce development for us. And that is anyone who has heard Rose speak about her inspection checklist that she puts together will just be blown away, because she's very prepared. She helps communities become prepared, so that when they do get a survey, they do get someone in their building, they're prepared. And that's what that podcast went over and went through. And then before that, the first episode was right after our annual conference. And so Anthony went through and highlighted some of the conference and some of the events that happened at the TALA conference, and some of the classes that he took, and some of the takeaways he got from some of the classes. So please check that out. Start getting the podcast. Like I said, 10 to 20 minutes, and it gives you some really good information every. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is our career search portal. So TALA worked with a company called Safe Harbor Solutions to develop a career search portal that is assisted living specific. This portal is fed by all of our provider members. If you have your own search, if you have on your website, you post your jobs, or if you're posting your jobs on one of the big ones like Indeed, our portal goes and pulls, and I don't know all the technical terms of this, but our portal goes and pulls that information from your page and brings it into our portal so that someone can search all of our provider members for jobs at one place. And the reason this is different from Indeed or any of this is just assisted living companies. And also one of the things that makes ours different is that they can also search by MOS code, which is that military occupational specialty code. And that, I don't know of any other job search portal out there where they can do that. The reason we did that is because we have another thing in conjunction in the workforce area that we wanted to focus on military to be able to try to see if we could get some of those people interested into coming into senior living. So that portal, you can either, it's defaulted to Texas only, but it doesn't just pull your Texas jobs. So for example, if you go in there and you put the provider Brookdale, it's going to pull up all the jobs that Brookdale has all over the United States, but it'll default to Texas only. And there's several different filters that you can apply. So people looking for different things will be able to narrow down the scope of what they're looking for. But that is something that we launched this year. And then in conjunction with the career search portal, we also started what we call Operation Serving Seniors. One of the things that we always want is to make sure that you have really high quality folks coming to work for you, people that are committed, people that are passionate, people that are wanting to serve. And so when we started thinking about the different types of candidate pools out there, one of the things that struck us would be people that had been in the military or the people that are in the National Guard. The National Guard folks, most of them need full-time employment because National Guard is a part-time thing. They have a commitment of once a month that they have to go in. But the rest of the time they need full-time employment. And so Texas is military rich. We have a lot of military bases and we have a huge National Guard presence here in Texas. So we have started outreach to the National Guard to see if we can get those folks interested in coming to working in senior living. And so Operation Serving Seniors is that initiative. There is a page on our website that is dedicated. We have made a visit to an armory, the Rankin Armory up in Houston. This was way before the hurricane. Rose Signs and I went up there and got to meet with a class of new recruits, some that were just getting ready to go to their basic training, because the National Guard goes through basic training just like all the other branches of the military. Some were getting ready to go to their basic training and some had just come back from their basic training. So it was two cohorts and we had folks from, I think the youngest one in there was 17 to 31. And the presentation, we started out, what is assisted living? What does that look like? What are the opportunities for you? Had some really great discussion with the group. They were very engaged. And then at first I thought, well, they're always like this. They're always engaged. They really have to pay attention to it. But then they started asking questions, and those questions were they were paying attention and they wanted to know, what type of career advancement are you only reaching out to us? What about my sister's looking for a job? Could I send my sister, what are the different types of fields? So that they were asking really good questions. And those are the type of people, the type of folks that are committed to something. that are interested in serving. Those are the type of folks that hopefully will make really good employees for you. And so we are trying to drive that pipeline and get them interested in coming to work in a senior living. And then next, and we have some guests here from Wise Ox. I'll tell you a little bit from my part. So Ruth is our AI regulatory assistant. This lives behind our membership paywall. So if you don't have your membership credentials, you need to email me or email McCarley Strange. And actually, if you email me, I'm going to put you in touch with McCarley. And she can get your credentials to get behind that paywall. But Ruth is a AI mascot that we have loaded up with all things assisted living. It's got over 200 documents loaded into her. It has all the provider letters. And for those of you that are in buildings, I know you have had this moment where you're like, I know there's a provider letter on that. And it's really hard to search for provider letters because the HHSC doesn't have those digitized. Well, guess what? Ruth can pull those. So if you go, Ruth, what's the provider letter on tuberculosis? What's the provider letter on, X? She can pull that up for you. Or if you ask her a question that touches upon it, she'll pull it up for you. But we also have all the regulations loaded into her, all the state statutes, all the guidance documents from HHSC. And during COVID, there were a ton of things that came out. And so they've kind of been more on the ball about putting out different types of guidance. There's our own internal documents, that stuff that we have had conversations with us and HHSC is in there. So she's available 24/7. If you reach out to Carmen and she's not able to get back to you because she's on vacation, or she's up at the Capitol stuck in a hearing, Ruth will be able to respond to you. And the thing that we also do, and Carmen does, is we go back and we look at those responses that are coming from Ruth. There is a quality check on there to make sure that you're getting thorough responses. If we feel like there's something else that maybe she should have provided you, Carmen will reach out to you. So we do get your information of who's asking the questions so that we can get back to you. But she's a great resource. I use her all the time when I need to look up something quick or I need a site for something. And I really deeply appreciate the partnership that we have established with our good friends over at Wise Ox to help create Ruth for us. And I'm going to turn it over to our Wise Ox folks. And we have both Andy and Michelle with us today from Wise Ox to talk to you a little bit more about AI and what it can do for you.
All right, nice to meet everybody. I'm actually taking Andy's place here today, but I'm the CEO of Wise Ox, so I know everything, all the questions that you have about Wise Ox. I'm going to share my screen, and I think right now I'm getting notice here.
Yeah, hold on. I will get out of mine. And I am going to have to let you be able to do that. I always
So
feel
while
that.
that's fine. While she's switching that over here, if you haven't heard about Wise Ox before, we have a platform for creating trained AIs. They're purpose-built AIs that know a lot of specific details about your company or your organization. And you're going to see a couple of examples of that today, but Ruth is definitely a really good example where the mascot is able to go very deep on the knowledge and information that we've trained it on. I'm going to start actually with a little bit of education because AI is new. It's a big trend. Sometimes it is a little bit scary. So I kind of want to demystify things for you and help you understand what this new trend in AI is and that will give you some ideas for how you can better utilize AI. So the first thing I want to talk about is language. Language is the reason why AI has made such a huge leap forward in the last 18 months or so. And the simplest way that I can describe that is when I say knock knock, everybody on this call knows exactly what the next words are that come after that. I'm sure many of you said it in your head or said it out loud. That is the technology and the reason why AI has become a lot more valuable recently, because it can understand sequencing of words and therefore can understand meaning of words. So it also knows that knock knock is the lead in to a joke, for example, or somebody may have a smile on their face. So by understanding the prediction of words, you can understand the meaning of words. And that's really what our brains are doing. It's exactly what your brain just did when I said knock knock. Other great examples are, what goes up? Everybody knows to say what comes down must come down. So that's extrapolate that out to a much more detailed example like Ruth. When you need information about a provider letter question, you can say, I know there was something relating to this, but can you help me put more language around this or fill in the gaps? That's what AI is doing. So this is an example. We work with a couple TALA members, and one of the board members is Greg Roderick. He's the CEO of Frontier Management. And so this is an example from their AI. So we asked their AI, Grace, knock, knock, and Grace knows to say who's there. But Grace also knows things like the Spark program from Frontier. Now, the Spark program is very specific and unique to Frontier and their company and their mission and vision and how they deliver their services. But if you asked this same question, the Spark program is, or what is the Spark program, to a very large language model like ChatGPT, for example, it wouldn't know the specifics of Frontier. So this is where we start to take the concept of very broad AIs and make them a lot more narrow and specifically knowledgeable and focused. And that's what WiseOx does. We create these trained AIs that are really purpose-built for your organization or your process. Now, why does this matter? Well, first of all, AI is here to stay. It's not going to be a fad like some other technology fads that we've seen, over the last couple of years. It's more likely to be on par with things like the invention of the internet, the invention of the automobile, the growth in the stock market. These are opportunities that as individuals and as companies, if you didn't take advantage of these other major revolutions and you waited a little bit too long, you're just not in as good of a position to succeed. And so I really want to hammer home the point that you should be learning about and adopting AI, and don't feel intimidated by it, feel empowered by it. And I'll give you a couple practical tips so that you can start to leverage AI in your own business and or your own daily work, and you will start to feel a lot more empowered. You might even feel a little bit of stress reduction. And eventually you will feel companions like Ruth will actually become reliable, dependable team members, and you won't have to bother people that are maybe overworked, like Carmen is, quite busy. So this is an example from Ruth. So Ruth is an AI mascot. She's trained on Texas rules and regulations. And you can ask a question like, what is the consent form for AEM in resident rooms? And include links to citations. So this was the answer that Ruth was able to come up with based on the knowledge base and training that we provided for her. Now, asking good questions, what I wrote here, is one of the most important things and a skill set that you will need to learn. In fact, LinkedIn Jobs recently did a study and found that 66% of employers require that new hires have some kind of AI skills or can articulate their experience and usage of AI. So this is a simple template for how you interact with an AI like Ruth or any of the other AI systems that are built by WiseOx or other platforms. So first, don't be afraid to put in long information. That's what these AIs are really good at, is reading things and understanding them very quickly. Don't give up. Sometimes the response that you get the first time is not going to be the best or the perfect answer. You sometimes need to come at things from a variety of angles. And that's not like unlike our peers, right? Sometimes you ask for one thing and you may not get the result you're looking for. But as you start to work with them a little bit more, they do start to adapt and understand you a little bit better. And that's a great feeling once you get to that point with AI. Don't feel bad about using AI for writing. We all have those writing blocks where we need to get that email out, or we need to create a summary of rules and regulations for a new team member onboarding or something like that. Don't feel like you're plagiarizing. These AI systems, especially the trained ones, are really highly tuned to use the specific language to help people be more on the same page, to help people know that they're all saying the same thing, and that's a comforting thing. So there, of course, are some boundaries to that, but I just want you to feel like the words that, especially if you ask good questions, the words you put in are worthy to use as the words that come out. A couple of tips on what you should be doing. Number one, be specific about what you're looking for. If you don't ask specific questions, you're not going to get great results. Include things like who's the audience that you're trying to go for, or what are some of the desired results? Why am I asking this question? And you can even just use plain language and say, hey, the reason that I'm asking you this is this. The type of people that I'm going to give it to is this. And just build a little bit of template in your mind, and then it will start to become more natural. Share your ideas with your team members. AI is one of those infectious things. If you talk about it around the lunch table, your peers are going to feel more normal and excited. It'll feel more approachable. And that will help lead to making it a habit. Productivity will come from your usage of AI. So the sooner you adopt it, the better it's going to be. I may have time to take a question or two, but first I want to show Ruth. And so as I'm starting to switch over here, I'll keep an eye on the chat thread. And if you have any questions about that educational part of AI, just put your questions into the chat function here. I believe we have that turned on. Okay, so signing into the members only area of TALA, the first thing that you're going to see is Ruth. So I have posted into the comment thread here the question that I showed you before with a screenshot. And when you come to interact with Ruth, you're not going to see the history of my conversation. You'll just have your conversation. And as long as you come back in on the same browser, it will also maintain and store your conversation. We have a few built-in buttons that you can click to initiate the conversation, or you can just type your question into the questions field here. So this question that I asked had to do with the kind of training that caregivers need to have. And so you can see Ruth, and as Diana mentioned, Ruth is trained on well over 200 documents and lots of pages of information. So Ruth is able to come up with an answer. Sometimes this is where it might take a few times. This may be a little bit higher level than you're looking for. And so maybe you want to drill down on annual education requirements. And so you can either just ask that question, or you can highlight that section and say, tell me more. And then it will go into further detail about annual education requirements. We do always, we do always instruct Ruth to make citations and point out which rules she is referencing when she's giving you answers. It is important to know that Ruth is an AI at the end of the day, and the quality of your questions and the responses that you get do need to be fact-checked. So make sure that you're not taking anything for complete solidarity and moving forward with that. Yeah. So the next question that we wanted to show you, and as you can see, Ruth starts to type as soon as she starts to have the answer for it. Personal assistant services. Can you provide more information on that? So I'll let you just skim here for just a second at this answer so you can see kind of the language and the quality of the response. And I'm going to check in on the chat function here.
No
Okay, it looks like
questions yet, Chip.
I don't have any questions yet, but I don't know if there's a raising hand function or if anybody has questions or comments, or Diana, anything you want to add to Ruth.
And, I will tell you that at first I was like, okay, how thorough is she going to get and how can you keep on digging? And I was really happy with her and her being able to answer stuff. And like I said, I use her, Carmen uses her all the time. And she's awesome. That's and we also you may ask where the name Ruth came from. She's actually patterned off of Carmen's grandmother, who was a nurse. Her and her husband started a hospital out in West Texas. She's kind of a trailblazer. And she's like this really fiery, independent woman. And so she's actually at an assisted living here in Austin. But that's who we patterned Ruth after, as Carmen's grandmother.
That's great. I hadn't heard that story, but
Mhm.
it does really show you that these AIs can take on a little bit of personality. Here at WiseOx, we call them mascots. And the mascots really have been described as reliable team members. For example, we have one
Excuse me.
named Joy, and Joy is an expert on HR and processes, standard operating procedures, the employee handbook for Sonida. And so when they're onboarding new facilities and have lots of new employees, Joy is really a helpful assistant for the Sonida employees to get the information that they need in real time. We've also found, Diana, you made a great point about even the experts that know the information that the AI has been trained on. It's helpful for them to have a quick retrieval for, oh yeah, that's how this connects to that, or I know the answer to this question, but I just want to validate it. And that's where AI can become really valuable.
And the other thing that I did not know is you can kind of even tailor personality. When we were developing Ruth, one of the options is if you wanted someone snarky, and I was like, no, folks that are coming are usually stressed out. They've got a survey in their building. They need to get an answer real quick. We want someone that's going to be helpful and not snarky at all. But you can kind of, if you want someone with a little bit of an, you can tailor that now, which is just amazing to me.
Yeah. All right. It doesn't look like there are any questions. So that's all that I had today as it relates to Ruth. In conjunction with this, though, WiseOx has launched a partnership with TALA. So all TALA members do get a discount on their WiseOx programs. So if anyone is interested in exploring how AI can help in their business, wiseox.com, or you can, through Diana, you can reach out to us as well. And that's a 10% discount right away off of any programs. And some of the things that you may think about, HR is a great use case. Sales and marketing is another really good use case that we've seen. And we've seen a lot of task automation and the AIs being able to perform a task and process data in a standardized way to be able to relieve the workload of lots of employees.
Thank you. We appreciate it. And we will keep you updated on all our, I know y'all monitor our Ruth as well to make sure she's keeping up, and we load new stuff up into her. It's one of the things that when you take on something like that, you've got to be vigilant. Any type of new guidance we get from HHSC, or if there was a court case that came down or an AG opinion that might impact assisted living, we would get that loaded in there. So it's something that we're very vigilant about, is making sure that everything that's contained in there is constantly updated. so that when you are posing questions to her, you're getting current information. So, all right, I'm gonna share my screen again.
All right.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, WiseX team. We appreciate it. So now, let's talk about what's coming. We've given you a little bit of overview about what we've done so far this year. I've got still have some really more exciting things coming down the pike. So one of the things that we have not ever had here at TALA is a learning management system. We were using a platform that had been created for hybrid conference events to kind of do educational offerings, and mainly only our AL managers course is being done by that, through that. It doesn't have a lot of the things that we would want to see with a learning management system, a true learning management system, somewhere that you can log on, take classes, keep track of them. It can prompt you how much more you have to do, get your certificates issued quickly. So we just recently entered into an agreement with Blue Sky, and we are going to have a learning management platform. It is probably, we're looking at probably a 2-month period for the conversion to happen, for us to start being able to roll that out. But what we are going to be able to do is not only our classes, our virtual classes, if you need to take your 24-hour AL managers class, if you need the 8 hours or the 16 hours, those are going to be able to be on demand. Right now, we do a class every other month. Those are going to be able to be on demand. We're still going to carry a live component with a Q&A. So if you take a course, every month we'll do either regulations Q&A live with the instructors, or an administrative Q&A live with the instructors. So that way you still get to ask questions of the instructors of those classes, but it's going to be on demand, which will be so much easier on your staff to be able to take those classes. And then we're also going to start building a continuing education bank within that system. So things that we do that you can get continuing education credit, you'll be able to go in there and look them up and get, you know, hey, I need an hour credit because I'm just 1 hour credit short. And you'll be able to go in there and get an hour credit. And for members, we're looking at the structure of what the payment's going to be on those, but it's going to be for our members, it will be a very low payment. But it'll be an easy way for you to go in, get a quick continuing education unit if you need it. Or if there's a certain topic that you remember we did a presentation on, you'll be able to go in there and look at it at your leisure. So I'm really excited about that. And then building on to that learning management system is our continuing partnership that we do with James L. West Center for Dementia Care. We did a pilot last year where we were looking at really providing some dementia specialist training, mainly focused at the caregiver level. Last legislative session, there was a lot of new statute created around the type of educational content that your caregivers have to have, all your employees have to have, and your managers have to have. When those rules get published, and they should be coming out here in the next month or so, we are going to take the programs and tool it in such a way that you will be able to have your folks, or you, if you need the credits, access it in an easy way so that you can go and get that training for whoever you need to have it in your building. And that, like I said, the system is going to be so much easier for folks to be able to utilize and to keep track of and to send your folks to do their training. So we're really looking forward to that. dementia specialist training is in conjunction with James L. West. And so that we are hoping to roll out all of that with looking at the new rules and what you'll have to have for your folks. That will probably be coming by the end of the year, the beginning of next year. But our learning management system will be up and going in about 2 months, maybe even a little shorter. And then let's look at some of our upcoming events quickly. So TALA book is a incredible, these have been so fun. We got the idea to do a book club, and many times people don't actually have the time to read the book. But if you do, we always we either pick books that are directly about caregiving or dementia, different type of dementia topics, or that are about some type of a leadership aspect that would help managers. And so those are the kind of the two areas that we pick books in. And we've been really fortunate. We've been able to have the authors of the books be on our TALA books. You know, the first one we ever did was a gentleman who's a professor at the University of Texas that had written an AI book looking at AI in healthcare and some of the concerns and some of the things that you need to consider when you have an AI system operating in the healthcare arena. And it was a fascinating discussion with him. And so this one we have coming up is going to be on August 9th. Once again, we are very fortunate. We have the author of the book, and she's really looking at trying to help caregivers that are taking care of people with dementia. So we're really looking forward to that. There's a QR code to be able to register for that. Or you can go to the website if you want to register for that. That's coming up in August 12th. And then looking at some more other things that we've got going on August 23rd, one of our TALAHour webinars is going to be delivering value through healthcare integration and collaboration. And that's with 12 Oak Senior Living and August Health. And they're going to be talking about all the different types of healthcare integration that can happen at a community level. We're seeing a lot more of that. And so, you know, what can you do? How can you set those up? They're going to delve into that. For those of you that like to, we have people that take our 8 hours regulation component of the manager's class every year, even though they don't have to. They only really need that first year they become a manager. They like to take the 8 hours every year to kind of just stay on top and do a brush up on the regulations. So this in-person class is actually the whole 3 days of 24 hours, but you can just come to the first day, which is the 8 hours of the Texas regulations. And this is going to be in San Antonio. Then on November 14th, we are going to do our dementia intensive with James L. West Center for Dementia Care. We've been doing this one every year in the fall, and it is if you manage an Alzheimer's certified building, you know you need 6 hours of dementia specific continuing education every year. This one day will give you all 6 hours that you need. These ladies are incredible. We always get some really good topics that are things that are really helpful that can help you in your building. And so that day we'll be doing the 6 hour dementia intensive. And then as always, please, you know, stay up to date. Let us, you can always figure out what we've got coming up for the month by either going to the website or, of course, the TALAHour newsletter that comes out every month. That keeps you updated on what we've got coming. And with that, I thank you. I told you I'd get you out under an hour, and I did. We just wanted to give you a little bit of a brush up on all the things that we've done so far this year and the things that we've got coming up. I hope that you find value with us. We really do strive to make your life easier. If you have ideas, for things that you would like to see, please email me, diana.martinez@tala.org. If you have suggestions for the podcast, something, a topic you would like Anthony to cover, please email us. And as always, we are here for you. We are your organization. And we're trying to do the best we can to serve you. Anyone that's in the Houston area, I hope everyone is doing well. We've had a lot of feedback from our communities there. A lot of them have generators and have brought in portable AC units, and they're just waiting on the power to get turned back on. And so you're definitely in our thoughts. We have elevated concerns up the chain to let, it's mostly CenterPoint Energy, to let them know of all the priority restoration that should be going on. But there is still some critical infrastructure like fire stations that don't have power back on. But hopefully that will get sorted out here quickly. But if you do, or if you are still experiencing problems, please email me, diana.martinez@tala.org, and let us know. And with that, I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend, and thank you so much for joining us. Take care.